Well, I got about a minute to go, so I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Seems like everybody's here. So, please have roll call.
Mr. Artisan,
Here.
Mr. Lewis,
Here.
Mr. Dixon,
Here.
Mr. Eastep,
Here.
Mr. Green,
Here.
Mr. Sheila.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, before we get started, we have two new members, Mr. Eastep and Mr. Green. I'd like to welcome them to the Planning Commission.
Thank you.
So, approval of the minutes.
I move to approve.
All, second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying yea.
Okay.
All those against say nay. Hearing no nays, motion passes. Public comment period.
Good morning. I'm Chris Fredrickson from Blair County Emergency Management. We have contracted with Blair Planning Commission to finish the county-wide hazard mitigation plan. The original plan that we had expired on February 10th of 2025. We have been requesting updates to that plan and have not been receiving feedback on that. And PEMA and FEMA have set up meetings with us, sent us everything that was needed to complete the plan. We were told on multiple occasions it would have been finished in May or June of last year, and then again by the end of January or early February of this year. That still is not done. This is extremely important. It is negatively affecting every community within Blair County, and we currently have several organizations that are in jeopardy of losing funding if this plan is not in place as soon as possible. FEMA and PEMA have both basically said they would handhold through the situation to make sure that everything is done properly, and the plan is not actually complete until FEMA and PEMA have signed off on it and approved everything and returned it to us, and then the municipalities have to start accepting the plan the way that it's written. So I'm just trying to make sure that this is getting accomplished and that it's done in a timely manner, because right now we have organizations that are going to lose out on a lot of money and not be able to complete their very important projects. Thank you.
Dave, do you want to address that?
The plan is currently being looked at by the Stewart Group to make sure we don't have any substantive things missing. Once that is done, it's going to be sent to FEMA for its approval.
Anyone else?
Regis Dale, I'd like to speak a little bit about the Great Commission's project up on the Stoll Farm. They've been working diligently on the barn up there, and the quality of craftsmanship is great. We believe that that'll improve the value of the property and also improve the value of other properties in the neighborhood. The plan currently includes a stormwater plan which will divert the rainwater that comes off Route 36 and has historically inundated the farm, and they're going to divert that into a storm retention pond. We're grateful for that. They also are on the combined sewer, are rehabilitating or replacing two of the manholes, which will eliminate some I&I, which is grateful. They also are going to daylight one of the street drains, and that goes directly into the combined sewer, and that will help also. So we're very pleased with the stormwater part of the plan, and we'd like to see it move forward quickly if possible. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hi, my name is Hope Ryan. I'm from the Belleville Borough. I am here today to ask for an update on anything that has improved at Blair Planning since the last meeting, because as a municipality, I have not seen any improvement on being able to get tasks completed at the planning department.
Oh, would you mind, or what tasks are you waiting on?
Hazardous mitigation, there's another plan that's due at the end of the month, or at the end of the year, that hasn't even been started. RFPs haven't even been put out for it. So everything has been, the deadlines are not happening at Blair Planning. Dave still is very difficult to get a hold of. And tasks are falling to Mackenzie and Sheridan. So those, the things that we discussed when we were here last time, have not changed.
Dave, any comment?
Since last time, we've had the cutbacks, and then my focus on the last, since we've come back to full-time, has been on the hazard mitigation plan, which again is at a, hopefully a final review period to be submitted to PEMA by the end of the week, or the end of the month, I mean.
Okay, anybody else?
Would we want to address the gentleman with regard to the Great Commission School project? If I'm not mistaken, we reviewed that application in November. Does that sound right? And we, I think as the planning commission, we did approve it with comments. So I think it's at this point out of our hands.
Yeah, it's out of our hands.
Yeah.
We're now being to the municipality and our comments went to them. So, but it sounds like it's a, good project that's moving forward.
So I don't, we don't have any further responsibilities with that project, do we, David?
Aware of,
If they propose additional
Yeah.
stormwater or something to mitigate, like a stormwater project, like what Regis was mentioning, then that would be something that we would review.
yeah,
So we've not received anything to review at this point, other than what was already reviewed.
Any other public comment? Hearing none. County Commissioner Liaison Form.
Good morning, everyone. It's good to see you all here. I would echo what Chris Frederickson brought before the board. We commissioners became knowledgeable of the delays that have been going on and had been asking questions and not getting satisfactory answers. So we are taking actions that we hope will assist in moving things forward. Our concern is that we really need to have an emergency plan. If we don't, there are grants that several of the municipalities have already applied for that they'll lose. So we just want to make sure that things are moving forward. The plan should have been done, I believe, a year ago, and there's been no actual explanation of why it's taken so long, and is finally now with the consultant group. But we're happy that it at least has made it to that point, and we want it to continue to move forward at a good pace. So thank you for allowing me to make some comments.
Okay. Development applications.
Okay.
Donald.
All right. So number 5 on your agenda is the Tyrone Borough McDonald's. This is proposed at around 1358 Logan Avenue. As you can see, this is the Sheets in Tyrone Borough. This is a lot that has been on our recent consent agenda, this was consolidated into one lot. And these two buildings here were proposed for demolition. The proposal is for a new McDonald's drive-through restaurant along Logan Avenue and East 14th Street. The proposal includes paving, utilities, landscaping, and stormwater management controls. This is the view from Sheets. If you're leaving Sheets, this is the view across the street of this lot. This would be the entire block. This is F Alley, Cottage Street or Cottage Lane on this side here. This is 14th, and this is Logan Avenue, if that made sense. This is the lot. Currently, it's just a vacant lot. Like I said, with those two houses, unclear if they are in use, but the proposal was for demolition of these three buildings here. The proposed development is for a 3,700 square foot McDonald's restaurant that has roughly 32 to 36 seats, dual lane drive-through, 30 paved parking spots, and a bi-directional access point from 14th Street. So the only access point into the McDonald's would be from 14th Street right here. I'll show you that in a second. The site is zoned for town center commercial, and it's located within the South Bald Eagle Creek watershed. As I said, the site currently contains or has two existing houses on it with their associated structures that are planned for demolition. Okay, so this is 14th Street, would be right along here. The bidirectional access is directly across from where Sheets, the exit from Sheets is. So that would be right here. This is Logan Avenue that would be along the top here, but this is the two lane, or it's one lane that splits into two separate lanes for the drive-through, then merges back into one lane the whole way around the building. It has an exit here onto F Alley, but it's not bi-directional. It's an exit only. And then once again, the traffic would flow out and in the exact same exit and entrance. I think that's it. Oh, sidewalks already exist along Logan Avenue here and 14th Street here. No sidewalks are proposed or exist along Cottage Avenue or obviously F Alley or Alley F. But we did recommend that, again, it's unclear from how the plan is drawn whether they're taking out those sidewalks. I obviously included recommendations to ensure that those sidewalks and those pedestrian connections not only stay but are made safer now that they will have a higher, probably like a higher frequency of use. So stormwater is proposed to be managed through underground culverts and detention facilities, designed in accordance with Tyrone Borough's stormwater management ordinance. We did recommend that a landscape buffer should be planted along the parking areas to prevent any light from escaping off of the property onto the neighboring areas. And that's about it. It was consistent with our comprehensive plan. Do you have any questions on this proposal?
What is this easement for?
What easement?
It looks like that's an easement.
That's an underground.
It's utilities.
Underground utility. If I'm not mistaken, that's actually an underground culvert, basically, completely, you can't see it, but it's essentially a stream that they ran under that lot. Would that be correct?
I believe that's correct.
No.
Now would they be tying their stormwater into that?
Yes. Yes, it says the storm drainage system has been designed to intercept runoff at topographic low points, to convey stormwater to existing pipe outfalls. So I am assuming this is the existing pipe.
Well, the only comment I would make would be the fact that their calculations on the stormwater has to be very intense. Make sure that the discharge doesn't overwhelm that culvert, or we'll have the same situation that we have out of the Logan Valley Mall.
I will say they are reducing the overall impervious surface cover for this site. So this development would be less impervious surface cover than what they have right now at the existing lot.
Kenzie, I'm not sure that I have a suggestion for this, but a concern I would have is that the intersection of Pennsylvania Avenue and 14th Street, which would be the kind of lower right corner of the plan there, which is now proposed to be the ingress and egress, that's a really busy and typically congested intersection. If you are in downtown Tyrone, that's often a place where cars back up. You're waiting for the red light. It also happens to be 453 and former old 220. So it gets a lot of traffic, people actually passing through Tyrone. That people that would travel through Tyrone to either go to Vale or Bald Eagle, the trucks that go to the paper mill, that's actually a route to the school, to the hospital, etc. So creating a new, it might not be too bad to have that as their primary ingress to get cars into the parking lot, but when they all try to leave, it's going to make that entire intersection a lot more congested. At least I would comment that they should consider options as to a different egress. 14th Street is actually Logan Avenue is a much slower, quieter road. It would be a lot nicer to be able to egress onto Logan, where there isn't near the traffic flow as what 14th Street. 14th Street is a really busy street in town. It's kind of the main. I can see why they want to build a McDonald's there, but it would be a tough place to get out of. And ultimately, when those cars are leaving, the same issue occurs at Sheetz. That egress at McDonald's is potentially directly opposite the egress of Sheetz. So you're going to have cars trying to get out of Sheetz, you're going to have cars trying to get out of McDonald's. They're all going to jam up in that same spot, which is often jammed up now. And that's with just an empty lot across the street, much less the traffic flow. The intersection that you would see to the, I guess, upper left of the screen where the church is, there is a red light there on Pennsylvania and 14th, and that's typically where things really get jammed up. Of course, you can see when they took this picture, there were 4 cars on 14th Street just at the time you took the picture.
Well, stop it right there. There's a guide wire coming down. Well, I think that's where they're proposing to
That
do
is.
the entrance. How's that going to work?
Yeah, they may want to consider even relocating that telephone pole. I don't know.
Well, I can tell you right now, unless they're going to pay for it, that pole's not getting relocated.
I mean, it is McDonald's. It is a billion-dollar corporation. I'm sure they will.
Well, I've run in this before where billion-dollar companies don't want to be moving poles.
That doesn't have lines on it, it's just it's a fulcrum point
But, yeah, they'll have to address this.
Yeah. Yeah, I can certainly make those comments and include those concerns about the egress. I also noted that the only egress into and out of the parking lot was from 14th Street, which it never seems like a safe practice, just in case of emergency access. But yeah, I can definitely include those comments.
One other thing regarding the ingress and egress, if it does stay at the same spot, where they're both at the same spot, is there gonna be some sort of a medial strip or something in the middle to keep the cars within their lanes so that the people coming in aren't swiping the people coming out? Is it wide enough for that?
That's a good question.
So that's what the question.
Yeah, that is a good question. I can include, once again, I can include those concerns with this review specifically because I think there are a lot of things that are just unclear from the drawing. But I agree that that is certainly something that we want to address before it becomes something that, like Todd had mentioned, people are sitting far back on the light and can't get out. Any other questions or comments on the Tyrone McDonald's development?
Hearing none, do I hear a motion to pass
With comments noted.
with comments noted?
So moved.
Do I hear a second? All those in favor signify by saying yea. All those against signify by saying nay. Hearing none nays, motion passes.
All right. So number 6 on your agenda is in Antis Township. It's J. Ray Realty Storage Units. The applicant is J. Ray Realty LLC. This is located along East Pleasant Valley Boulevard. What was the name of the? It's in the site of a former trucking company and restaurant.
Sassafras.
Sassafras, that's what it was. Yeah. Let me see. So this is the existing site. That's what I was looking for, the Sassafras Cafe. But this is the existing site. And it is proposed for a series of self-storage units. The site is a former trucking company with a bar and restaurant that are planned for demolition during the site renovation. This is what I just showed you. This is existing photos of the site. This building here is proposed for demolition. This office building is proposed to stay, and then the cafe building is proposed for demolition as well. In terms of site characteristics, there were prime ag soils present, but they were really just along the road here. Once again, the site is kind of reclaiming a lot of this gravel, so the impervious surface will be less than what it is now. Site is located within the Little Juniata River watershed. And the proposed development is for 7 storage units of varying sizes, some as small as 400 square feet, some as large as 8,000 square feet, as you can see this one here. They have 7 proposed parking spaces here, including 1 paved ADA accessible space. The entire parcel is to be fenced in, and there's a 24-foot bidirectional access easement. I believe that says 24 feet. Yes. And I believe that's it for this one. A detention basin is proposed, an underground detention basin is proposed for stormwater management, in addition to reclaiming some of that gravel area and turning it into rain garden, which will be designed in accordance with Antis Township's stormwater management, as claimed by the developer. Any questions?
Recommendations for sidewalk?
I didn't include recommendations for sidewalks just because there's nothing really close by, but
Oh, wow, that goes right into a bank.
yeah, so I don't know if that I mean, we certainly can include that. It would just be,
From Ennis Township. And in general, that's not an area we want to encourage people to be walking. There's a housing development further down the road, but pedestrians tend to go the other way. Cars travel really fast through here. Once you get right past this, there's no good shoulder to get off on. I'm still right against. There's nowhere to put a sidewalk to extend it. So requiring a sidewalk on this parcel doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There's no way to connect it.
Well, it's only a recommendation. It'll be up to you guys anyway.
I think that with our orders, we know we're gonna recommend some landscaping in front. But the other thing with the Sassafras Cafe, that restaurant was closed for years, 2 decades. And there's sewer.
Is that a ditch line in there?
It's pretty flat. This is positive use for this because other businesses have looked at it, and the section's bad for that.
I think it's a positive use because definitely an improvement.
Yes.
What would be the primary ingress egress of this property?
I believe it would be this existing paved, they would just improve this here. And
Is
then
it not shown on that other plan?
it is, it's right here.
Yeah. It's right at the brow of the hill, they're right at the top.
And there's actually a second, I believe that one is also 24 feet.
I would be a little concerned about the pinch points on that as you're, as somebody that's used storage facilities before, I'll often pull in, I've got an F-250, I've got a 16-foot box trailer, it looks to me like there's a lot of places there where it would be kind of tough getting around. As maybe as Annis Township looks at this, or just a general comment, I would try to make sure that there's plenty of access around those buildings to make the turns.
So the requirement is 24 feet. The only one that I'm seeing that doesn't meet the requirement for 24 feet is right here with the existing building. It looks like it's 24 and some change. But everything else appears to be, I think this one looks like 22 and some change as well. But I can certainly make those comments that they fall a little bit under what's required. Any other questions or comments on this one?
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor? All those in favor signify by saying yea.
Okay.
All those against signify by saying nay. Hearing no nays, motion passes.
Okay, number 7 on your agenda is for the Jiffy Lube expansion in Logan Township. This is located along Plank Road, right in front of Rural King. This is Mod Wash and this is Arby's. For some context, they want to construct a building addition for their automotive center. Their existing building is about 2,000 square feet and includes 2 service bays, an office, a restroom, and a utility room. The proposed addition will be about 1,800 square feet and 3 additional service bays, bringing the total building area to about 3,900 square feet. These pictures are crazy. This is the existing site. I'm sure you're all familiar with. The addition, the reason I have it from the back is because the addition is proposed on the back side of the building. So let me zoom in over there. Okay. Okay, Okay, so this is the backside of Jiffy Lube. You can see there's the Mod Wash, there's Kmart, which is now Rural King. This is the building, the proposed addition will be along the back half of the building here.
There's
Okay.
a throughway right there behind the building, as we're looking at it in the foreground, on the other side of that pole. They're gonna lose parking spaces.
So let's look at the plan. Bless you. Okay. Oops, sorry. Okay, so currently, there's these parking spaces here along the back side of the building. The parking bays, or the service bays, enter the building along the side here. This is Plank Road. The addition would be adding on to this back half of the building right here. As Herb said, there is a throughway that comes kind of through here. I believe that would, it's hard to say based on what's proposed. It looks like it would probably be impacted, that it would not be a straight throughway anymore. This is the proposed addition on the back half of the building. They move the parking spaces out a little bit and repave the back half of their lot along with the far side. Stormwater runoff from the site will be reduced by removing more than 1,900 square feet of the existing pavement to convert it to green space. Rear parking spaces, as I said, will be relocated along the northwest side of the building. The site will be accessed from the existing driveway from Plank Road, so no changes to the site's access. A new sidewalk is proposed along Plank Road to replace what is being changed. However, I don't have any information on that throughway. Let me go back and look.
Is it an actual easement?
It's not, because it looks like they have like their dumpsters and stuff there. So this drive here, I mean, this would not be affected. It looks like the parking would probably be brought right up into like this drive aisle. Is that what you're referring to? This here? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like it would be brought up right to the limit of their property line, which is the end of this.
Just think of the property line. There's plenty of parking right across the drive there, but
Sure.
it
Yes.
becomes an issue, you know.
Any questions, any additional questions or comments on the Jiffy Lube expansion? Not sure if I noted, I'm sure this is probably obvious, the site is zoned for business and the surrounding land is commercial.
I'll make a motion for approval.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying yea.
Okay.
All those against signify by saying nay. Hearing no nays, motion passes.
Okay, number 8 on your agenda is in North Woodbury Township. This is Dale Sollenberger proposing the addition of 2 60,000 square foot chicken barns at his existing dairy farm, as well as a 4,500 square foot egg packing facility. Sure, we're mostly familiar with the Sollenberger property. It's one that we review frequently for new additions because it's growing and expanding rapidly, which is awesome. Sorry about my screen. Okay, so this is the existing site. This here is the manure, what do they call that? like the holding, the holding facility. I can't think of what it's called, but it's the manure stockpile. That's what it's called. And the proposed chicken barns are for this spot right here, which is existing crop fields. Let me get back to the presentation. Okay, as I circled right there. Here is the proposal. These are, like I said, each 60,000 square feet, max height of 30 feet, and then including an attached 4,500 square foot egg packing facility, as well as stormwater management for the site. They proposed a pipe culvert under the gravel access road to protect the area from erosion during future stormwater events. A swale is constructed along the upslope side of the project to help direct excess stormwater from the row crop field, as well as a proposed inlet, around the proposed inlet or proposed project to an existing inlet in that same area. Any questions on this site? I believe the existing site is 15 and a half acres. It's located in Clover Creek's watershed.
Mackenzie, this is almost immediately adjacent to the proposal that we approved several months ago for called Family Dairy, correct? Isn't that the property that they're improving almost just immediately adjacent to this, I think? Is it the same area?
Yes.
Anything else? Was there a motion passed?
But can I ask just one more question? Thinking about access for big trucks and, et cetera, where would this intersect? Maybe it's Clover Creek Road, or how will they access this with big trucks, basically?
I think it's Millerstown or Miller, whatever. What's this one here? Millerstown Road to Krebs Road, which is the actual site. It's a finished road, so they can take Millerstown Road. Krebs Road takes you right to the actual site here.
And are they proposing to build or have the township provide something larger to access the future site? Or is it just going to use gravel roads to get in or not?
Nothing is proposed at this time. I think there are agricultural exemptions for access roads, which is how they kind of are able to do some of this heavier duty stuff. We can certainly make that recommendation that if they plan to expand in the future, and it might behoove them to have more substantial access to the site.
So I would say also that there's already a great deal of large equipment and trucks that access these roads in that area, just because of the nature of the dairy farming businesses in that area, and especially those farms, the Culp and even the Gerald Smith farm next to that. They have some pretty large industrial agribusiness concerns. So I think the road situations are probably not going to get complicated just from this addition.
It might be worth just commenting to the township that, to have them review the access and to make sure it's adequate.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
Anything else?
Yeah. Like, move for approval.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying yea.
Okay.
All those against signify by saying nay. Hearing no nays, motion passes.
All right. Number 9, and the last development that's on your agenda is in Taylor Township. This is for Pivot Solar Farm. The applicant is Pivot Energy, and it's located along Brubaker Road in Taylor Township. The project is for a 3 megawatt AC ground-mounted solar energy facility that will deliver locally produced renewable energy to the regional electrical grid. This is the first time, I will say, or I will note, this is the first time in one of these solar proposals that we've seen the developer actually returning the energy that is produced here in Blair County to Blair County. Most of the time it's being exported out of Blair County. So they'll be connecting this in with the Penelec grid. The solar array itself will have approximately 6,700 solar panels mounted on single axis trackers to maximize energy production. I believe this takes place in 3 phases. So this area here is part 1, and these areas here are part 2 and 3, I believe. But this is the solar array as it's proposed. Again, part 1 will be over here. This house is proposed, as far as I know, they have no inclusions on removal of this property whatsoever. So as it's proposed, the first solar array will be built here, the second here, and the third here, all with fenced access and then improved access drives as well. The project parcel is mostly vacant farmland. It does contain both prime ag soils as well as ag security area, which again, typically we don't condone the conversion of prime ag soils and especially ag security area for this use. So I would say in that way, it's not like that in and of itself is not consistent with our comprehensive plan. However, land use immediately surrounding the site is wooded and open and intermixed with low density residential. Once again, this is a little bit, I guess, maybe easier to look at. These are the improved access roads that are proposed to the site off of Brubaker Road here. Let me take you on the map. Okay. So once again, the first site is proposed here. The improved access roads are from here into the site, and then from here accessing these sites here. But then phase 2 and phase 3 will be on this land across the street.
Can you give us a little bigger view of the total area, Kenzie, please?
It says the solar array will be set back at least 100 feet from all parcel boundaries and 25 feet from any utility right-of-ways. An 8-foot tall wire fence will enclose the project infrastructure, including the solar arrays and equipment pads. The solar farm components will occupy approximately 22 acres. All of that will be fenced in. Access, once again, to the site will be off of Brubaker Road with a minimum 25-foot gravel operation and maintenance road built off of the existing driveway. Taylor Township does have a comprehensive set of solar development regulations. The applicant did provide a narrative, detailed set of plans, and additional technical documents that address glare, stormwater erosion, stormwater and erosion and sedimentation, emergency response, wetlands, public utility connections, and also the decommissioning of the site, that does comply with Taylor Township's solar ordinance. It is unclear if I did mention this earlier, but there are prime ag soils on the site, so it's unclear if the applicant requested a waiver of the provision that prohibits prime ag soils or that prohibits solar arrays from being located on prime ag soils. The affected soils occupy the entire parcel. However, I'm unsure and I was unable to confirm if the lands are in active farming use or if they're vacant farmlands. Also, it's winter. I did go.
They're currently being farmed.
Okay, I was gonna say it's winter. I went up there. I couldn't tell. Thank you.
Yeah, they're being leased by another concern. But
Thank
They
you.
are being farmed.
I did mention that the deforestation of the area for this project is likely to change the overall stormwater runoff patterns at the site, and the developer should ensure that whatever stormwater management is proposed at the site does take this into account to avoid flooding downstream properties. And that is the extent of the comments that I included for this development, but I'm interested in anyone else's
How
thoughts.
close are we to the nearest small municipality, which would be Williamsburg is closest?
That's Sharpsburg.
Yeah, this is Sharpsburg right here.
That you see. And that's 164 in the lower part of the screen. It goes by, and there's access road. It goes around either to Sharpsburg and back out, or you can go up down along Plum Creek Road. The question I had is, I'm not familiar with the Taylor Township ordinance, so I don't know, as you said, I don't know if it has a waiver or whatever for prime ag to be taken away. And I noticed from the comments, I don't know how much detail in the stormwater that we get into, but I know that Plum Creek is a Class 1 cold water trout stream also. So I didn't know if there were actually things up there on the stormwater, or if they're actually going to put in retention ponds of some sort on that site or not.
So they sent
Because
us.
that's the lay of that land. It would, again, if you think about it from the screen, it goes from the top of the screen down. That actually slopes down towards the stream. That entire area does.
They didn't provide a ton of information on stormwater. They did say that they would be doing like meadow planting.
I figured there'd be some kind of ground cover on it.
Right. That's pretty standard. Yeah, typically they provide an entirely separate.
I mean, in some ways, with the ground cover and such, I mean, it actually will probably be less runoff in the long run. But in the construction phase, I just want to make sure that they would have all the. That would be my comment, that they really have some kind of robust soil and erosion plan in place there.
Conservation District usually takes care of those.
Yeah. Okay.
They have a full-blown
Yeah,
ENS
yeah,
plan.
as I
all
said,
the way through.
I'm new to this, so I don't want to ask too many questions.
It says
Yeah, no, they generally, and our Conservation District is very good with that.
Right.
How close does that stream come to this site?
It literally, you can
Right
see it
about
right there. It borders it. It literally.
They'll be really intense on that. because
Okay.
That's a cold water
Yes.
fishery, so.
Yep, I'm very familiar with that. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's the only thing I would say. It's just if they've already looked at it. And I saw you're going through the one table, there was a glare report. That was my other question. I know there are a number of residences there in Sharpsburg. And in phase 2 of that plan, they're going to be surrounded by this.
absolutely. I did note that as well.
So, you know.
So the requirement is 100 feet, and they do meet that requirement, or 100 feet from any existing houses or roads, and they do meet that requirement. But I can certainly include comments just to make sure that.
I don't know if any type of landscaping or barrier would make any difference for the glare. If you look at, again, that whole community, Sharpsburg, will be
Yes.
impacted by it, because that phase 2 is directly, you see those homes, it's directly
Above it.
above that, yeah.
Yep.
Just a question about it.
Yeah, I
Did they identify any security measures? Such
Security.
as lighting?
I mean, these really don't include anything other than like them being fenced in and having like a security access panel. They typically don't include any lighting other than like utility lighting or access lighting, but nothing like that was included or mentioned in the plan.
Yeah, because some of them, they actually set up cameras and some intermittent spots they'll have lit. Because, you know, these are prime sites for people to come in and steal metals and stuff out. People do crazy things with electrical wiring.
Kenji, do we know the ownership of that home right in the middle? It seems to me like that might have been the farmhouse and then farming area around it.
That is correct. I can't think off the top.
That is actually
It was-
that's the people who own the property.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was
They-
subdivided. That parcel where
Yeah,
their houses was
and they-
subdivided off the
That's
larger.
a relatively new home that they built there.
So the people who are the blue dot is own the property
Yes,
and are subdividing it off to put a solar.
that's my understanding.
That or Pivot is leasing the property from them, which is that's what's happening in Greenfield Township. The same company is leasing land from the Heilmans to be able to have their solar farm on there.
I would agree with the landscaping feature along the Sharpsburg area to, maybe arborvitaes or something to block out that from the neighbors, just as a comment.
Absolutely.
We're not aware, this farm is not in the farmland preservation, as far as we know.
It is an ag security area.
But it's not actually been like preserved with easements for development, correct? Our county's farmland preservation program, as far as we know, it's not in that, enrolled in that.
As far as I know, no. But I mean, at the state level, it is recognized. I'm not sure what you're asking. At the state level, it is recognized as active farmland, and it should be recognized as like prime ag and preserved ag soils.
That was my question.
Well, and Commissioner Kessling could respond to this also, but our county participates with the state in what's called farmland preservation, and it's essentially an easement program to try to preserve some of the best soils and best farms in the state in our county. And so we have state funds, we have county funds, which basically pay the property owner to restrict easements. And I think that solar, I'm not sure how that relates to solar, but I'm assuming that solar development would not be allowed under that easement program. So, I'm assuming this is not in that easement program, but
They would have to request a special waiver, and as far as I know, they have not requested any waivers for building on this soil.
well, the program, it's, Nick was saying about, if you were to leave the program, but with the easement, it's pretty tough to, generally, you don't pull out of that program, but, yeah, I would say that, based on a lot of the comments, I would certainly have, concerns, and I know the Conservation District and the Ag Security Committee would probably look at this, but, this is some of the best farmland in Blair County, so it's not necessarily our job to prevent that development, but we certainly want to raise that as a concern.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I can absolutely include those comments. I think they're important to include.
Anything else? hear a motion to pass with comments?
So moved.
I hear a second.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying yea.
Yea.
All those against signify by saying nay.
No,
We have one no. Motion passes because of yeas.
We didn't hear who the second was. I didn't hear the moved either. Herb seconded?
Yeah.
And who moved?
Jim. Oh,
Thank you.
Got it? Okay.
okay.
Okay, number 10 on your agenda are the staff level reviews for subdivisions and land developments that went out to you via email over the course of the last month. I believe this also includes January as well, since we didn't get to meet in January. The list does include those just for your review. But once again, these have been sent to you via email. You've had the opportunity to review them. These are reviews that typically don't rise to the level of needing a full-scale review at our meeting. So if you have any questions on these, I believe they're also listed on your agenda. Now's the time to ask.
Wapsononic Avenue site,
Repeat what you said?
the city of Altoona Redevelopment Authority, minor subdivision.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
A minor subdivision.
I mean, is it just a couple lots that they're putting together? Or splitting apart?
I believe so. Let me take a look. That one was it.
I represent the development authority, I can tell you.
Yeah, please.
The authority acquired a parcel next to one that they had already owned and they're merging.
Oh, okay, I was just, because I was thinking about, it's the Wapsononic, and then I'm thinking, wait a minute, they got that whole wooded lot that the city used to have.
It's at the 300 block of Wapsononic, so just at the bottom of 4th Street, when you make a right there on the Wapsononic.
Okay.
They owned the vacant lot on the corner, and they bought the first house on the right. And they're rehabilitating that, and they're just merging them.
When I worked there, I used to do that all the time.
Yeah.
All right,
I would make a motion to approve the staff level reviews with a note that I abstained from the Dugan subdivision. Ashlyn Dugan is my daughter.
Second.
all those in favor signify by saying yea.
Yea.
yay.
All those against signify by saying nay. Hearing no nays, motion passes.
Okay. Number 11 on your agenda, same thing, except these are the Metropolitan Clearinghouse ones. These are typically permit reviews or permit applications to, most of the time, the Department of Environmental Protection, but sometimes we have a couple other ones that sneak through here. I'm trying to look through. We see some Chapter 102s. Those are permits for land development or future planned land development. Air quality operating permit renewals. NPDES, which is pollution discharge elimination, something like that. And then general permit applications. Once again, these have all been sent to you via email and are typically just renewals or applications for new development. Any questions on these?
As you could address the commission.
Please.
There are two in Franklin Township. Concerns about both. First was the Curry Rail Service. The Curry Rail Service, I don't believe, is in Franklin Township. The office building was, that was a separate lot. I believe the rail yard is in Blair Township. So we want to confirm that. And secondly, the Levine Engineering culvert repair Chapter 105 permit application. We did receive an emergency permit for that. We completed the paperwork to get final approval. It was denied because no permit was ever required for that project. And I just was made aware of that the last week. So we're waiting for, to get that confirmed in writing, but that's where it stands now.
Thank you.
So I just want to make sure the commission is aware of
Thank you. I did let HT know I would reach out to Curry Rail. They send us lots of permit applications. And what I think is happening is that they have just like a copy and paste that they do. And it still says Frankstown Township. So that's what we classified it under. But I will reach out to them and make sure that that gets updated.
Well, then I would suggest that you pull both of those until you get further clarification.
Okay.
I mean, that's, you don't have a problem, do not? Okay, so those are
Okay.
to be pulled until you have further clarification on the issues.
Anything else?
Anything else? Do I hear a motion to pass?
So moved.
Do I hear a second? All those in favor signify by saying yea.
Yeah.
All those against signify by saying nay. Hearing no nay, motion passes.
All right. These are also under these don't need a motion or any kind of movement or anything. These are just updates on letters of support and grants that have been applied to over the last month or 2 months, I believe. We wrote some letters of support for the multimodal transportation grant, quite a few. Some applications for Penvest funding. But I believe all of those have also, the actual letters have gone out to you in your email as well for your review, just so that you can see the work that we're doing with our municipalities. Listed at the bottom are 2 grants that Sherry has submitted applications for. I don't know if you want or have anything that you want to add.
Those are both actually awards that we just received. So since our last meeting was canceled, the LSA grant applications have been awarded. Juniata Township's wheel loader for $100,000, and then the DCD multi-use transportation fund for Tyrone Township. That $552,310 is about half of what the total project cost is. So that brings award status up to over $7 million in 4 years.
Period. That's amazing. Okay. Number 13 is Dave.
First thing here is we were notified at the beginning of the year that the mileage reimbursement that we are contracted with the state with the MPO has gone from 70 cents to 72.5 cents per mile. That's a notification, although we do once in a while approve that if somebody wants to make a motion for it. It's in line with the way the contract is written. We reimburse based on the GSA.
Do I hear a motion to move?
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying yea.
Okay.
All those against signify by saying nay. Hearing no nays, motion passes.
As was mentioned earlier, the hazard mitigation plan is with Stewart Group. They are going through it to give it a final once-over before we send it down. We did go through the checklist that we received back from the state at the beginning of the year. The items on that checklist, I believe, are now addressed. Waiting for a little bit of information from the EP yet. But other than that, it's addressed. They are going to go through with a somewhat fine-tooth comb to make sure everything is called out of it that needs to be addressed, and then we will get it down to Ernie at Pima for the state and federal final review. That will give us what they call approval pending adoption, APA. That basically means that the state and the federal government are happy with it, and then we simply need one municipality to adopt it, and at that point they consider it to be adopted. Now all the municipalities individually will need to adopt it if they want to participate, But the plan is considered adopted at the point that the first municipality adopts it. Historically, we have brought it back to this board for adoption as well. Not full-blown adoption, but more like a recognition that it's a plan document that we will be using in our decision-making processes. It will inform our various and sundry votes and the policies that we do. So once that's done, we'll bring it back here for that. The two big things that were in the checklist that are now done, the hazard definitions needed to be conformed to state definitions. We historically had combined a few things. Under storms is the big one. We had storms, thunderstorms, winter storms, tornadoes, strong winds, things like that were all combined into one. They wanted us to pull those apart. The other one that was a big one was pandemic and infectious diseases and addiction. We had placed into one category, and they wanted those pulled apart. So doing that and developing the background information for each of those individually was the push. One was basically Section 4 of the plan. The other is Section 6, which is the mitigation action plan. We needed to update how the tables were presented from how they had been done before. They wanted to see the calculations that were done that show the prioritization of the different actions that were on the list. So that originally was being done through two tables. We found a way to consolidate it into one, and then the formatting needs to basically be completed on that. It's just a matter of Stewart Group going through and doing some touch up on the headers. So they're going through that. We had a meeting with them yesterday afternoon. They're going to do the compliance proofing. I may actually get back to the office and see an email inviting us for an in-person conference to go over it again. That could be as soon as this afternoon. Most likely it'll be early next week, and then we will go from there.
I asked a few questions.
Mm-hmm.
What's the timeline for completing this with Stewart Group?
As soon as possible.
Is there a definition on that?
I'm hoping by the end of the month.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I would like to jump into, we have a county commissioner, we have EMA here, we have several municipalities complaining about the hazard mitigation plan. What was the nexus, what was the cause of the delays of this not being completed in February of 2025?
In 24, I had staff turnover, which in and of itself is a disruption, and then it takes me off of the plan itself to replace that staff, to advertise, do the interviews, and everything else that's related to that. This year, this past year, it's been primarily up to my health concerns. So, which at the beginning of this month, it looks like I'm being cleared on that. So there'll be a follow-up on that in April. Hopefully I'm cleared on that at this point.
Okay, so understanding the hazard mitigation plan, am I correct, it's a 5-year plan?
Yes.
So we knew this was coming, 5 years before that. I know as a municipality, I took over as the manager here in 2022, and I was consulted in 2023 concerning our hazard mitigation needs. So I know that we had ours done in 2023, well in time for this preemption for 2025. I'm understanding the Flood 9 plan for hazard mitigation. They're all but complete with a $500,000 grant. However, I've received as a municipality concerns that grant may be returned because the hazard mitigation plan is not done. If that $500,000 is lost for the area, let alone if we have a hazard, declaration within the county with funding. So I would like to ask for an executive session for personnel following the meeting so we can discuss the specific personnel issues that caused this to that.
Well, we will do that. Do I hear a motion to approve the Stewart Group Consulting?
Do we need a motion to approve that?
Do we need a motion?
No.
No. Delegation of development reviews to staff.
That's this last sheet here. As we discussed earlier, there's a lot that goes into the development reviews and bringing them to the meetings. The minor subdivisions and the permit application and the grant supports all go out by email. They're basically in and out. There's no real impact on the landscape as a result of them. It's just a lot line adjustment type thing, or a minor thing that's in the background. This has been talked about on and off over the years. It just seems to be appropriate to just hand those off to staff. Staff would give a report to the Planning Commission on a regular basis as to what's coming through, so you're aware of it. But those long lists that are on the agenda and all like that, there's rarely, if ever, comments on them. Things aren't really flagged that much. So in terms of the minor subdivisions, like the lot splits and the mergers, the permit applications, the MPDS, the air quality, those types of things, basically the things that are the form letters would go to staff for review. The grant request letters, just to move those through, sometimes we get those in within a week of when they need to be added to the grant application package. There's not really enough time to get them to the board. Those would also be done by staff, unless there's something that has a huge weight. If the commission were to sign off on it, and it might make the difference between them getting or not getting the grant, or if the applicant were to request that they want it to come to the full commission, then we would bring it here. The development application, the big ones that have the impact, like the 5 we saw today, would still come here unless the meeting gets canceled like happened last month, in which case the staff will be authorized to move those along and basically kick the tires and move it out the door. That being done simply to keep the process moving. It keeps us out of the way of the development process, and then it we are just recommending to the municipalities. The municipalities have the final say on this, so the applications would simply go. So we're not in the way of the process. We left them coming here overall because in many cases this is a public airing of the of whatever the application is. In some cases, it's the only chance the public has to see them, and it just depends on how the local process is, but it gives a consistent review. People know they can come here for just about anything in the county and see what's going on. So we'd like to keep them here, but in the event that a meeting is canceled, it authorizes staff to move it along so we're not in the way. The exception to that is a Dorsey development of significant regional impact. Those would have to come here unless there is an absolute timing issue that we need to get it out the door. But those would come here as well. The actions by governing bodies, things like ordinance amendments and plans that are being adopted, would also come here as well. Just to, again, give it the public airing. A board requesting us to do something like that should have board review. So that's basically the policy in a nutshell. that would be voted on.
Okay, do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying yea.
I'd like to discuss before a vote is called, please. So when I was put on the board, I was told that I would represent Frankstown Township, Hollidaysburg Borough, Allegheny Township, and Duncansville Borough. So I think in some level that I know from review just with Duncansville Borough, sometimes these plans are submitted by engineers to the Planning Commission prior to them submitting their final plans to the municipality. And what I intend on doing is when I get a list of that nature, to talk to the townships that are involved to see if they've been A, made aware of the development, and B, if they have any issues, that we can kind of be a first stop for the public airing of those issues. And if they're just churned through the system without the commission knowing about that, I don't have a real good feeling that I could represent the municipalities that I've been appointed to represent with that. So I am against us slowing things down with bureaucratic tape, and I understand the intent of that is to get rid of that bureaucratic tape. Is there a level that we could still have notification of all of the common letter items, just like talking with Frankstown Township, understanding that permit wasn't needed, and the other, maybe in Blair Township. I think those are important before we rubber stamp them as passed. So I would still like to be involved with developments that are going before they get approval. I also, my general impression is to allow development to happen and not be a roadblock just with common bureaucracy, but to also be aware of neighbors and how your development's going to affect those around you. So before we would just pass that's my comment. So I would like to see the items being consented to prior to them going out.
We should be able to get a list as things come through. And then that was the intent. A report would come through. We can either do that as what's pending. We could do it as what's already gone out. We could do both. This has come in the last week. This has gone out in the last week, and then you would be aware of what's basically what's coming through the office as it comes through.
What would the authority of the commission members then be? Should there be a problem that we need to stop that, or we need to...
You flag it, and then we'll bring it here.
To flag that for further review.
I think what we need to do is I think we need to table that one until a better plan is formulated on how this is going to work.
I agree. We should get a policy in place that, there's some...
Actually, we should be voting on the policy of how this is handled rather than, just pass it through.
Correct. I don't want to slow us down with bureaucracy, but I also don't want to have comments added that we don't approve with the comments and, moving, without the appointed body looking at those.
Well, I'm really in favor of seeing to it that the communities that these are impacted are well aware of what's going on. It's rather discouraging coming to these meetings and nobody comes but us. And I always encourage, those municipalities to come and voice their concerns.
Well, at the end of the day, I mean, this committee is really a bureaucratic committee, and we only have, recommendations that we can make to the municipalities. But if we push through or stall a project for a municipality and we only meet once a month and we don't meet in January.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm in favor of what you're saying, because even like things like sidewalks, I'm a big proponent on sidewalks. And I'm always saying about sidewalk, because that's a recommendation from us to give to the municipality to say, hey, you need to look at this. Whether they choose to look at it or not, that's up to them. But at least we're doing our due diligence in pointing things out. And I think any engineering firm or anybody out there should be using us as a sounding board for their developments. And a lot of them don't. They just send in plans that give us little information, but they should be really sending the stuff in here to say, hey, make your comments so we can address it to the municipality and be better prepared for the municipality.
Right, and to be a creditable organization or appointees, I really take my job as representing the municipalities, so I've already reached out to all of the municipalities, and I intend on doing that if something comes up with Frankstown or Hollidaysburg. So I think that's incumbent upon us as a representative, whatever areas you represent on the board, to really be that willow branch to reach out and say, this is your baby, what do you feel about this, or how do you feel about this? And if we just push them through without any seeing of that, I motion to table this matter until we further develop a plan.
Okay, second?
I'm sorry, there was a motion.
I wasn't gonna make the second, but I did have a discussion, but since there's a motion, is there a second to the table?
I seconded it, yeah.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to table this matter.
Yeah.
Just one more point of discussion. The purpose, I think, of this document is numbers 1, 2, and 3, if I'm not mistaken. It's really business as usual here. We're not changing anything. That is our standard of how we operate. And numbers 5 and 6 are also really essentially standards of how we operate. The only thing that's really changing, if we were to make this motion and to vote on this, would be number 4. And the concern with number 4 would be, like, you know, we have a public meeting that's typically scheduled once a month. We have 8 appointed members. Right now we have 2 empty seats. And so last month, because of unavailability, we didn't meet. Well, essentially, even though staff reviewed these items and, you know, we're potentially in touch with the municipalities, our commission didn't meet, so therefore we didn't approve them or deny them or make any recommendations. Like, nothing happened for a month. If that were to happen again, you know, we potentially, you know, we're just stalling development because we aren't having a meeting. And we have a mandate to have a quorum of 5 people. So if we don't have 5 people, if 4 people show up, we still can't officially do anything. So the question becomes, are we willing to delegate the authority to staff you know, to make recommendations or approvals, or to you know, are we willing to, in the absence of a meeting and a quorum, can progress continue, or do we just wait another month?
Well, I think that's where you need the plan. You know, the plan can be set up in such a way that, you know, part of the plan can be notifying the community, you know, that this is going on. And then if the community doesn't respond to it, then it moves forward. But if the community says, hey, you know, we want to talk about this, then it has to go to the next meeting. I mean, that's the way I look at it. But however you work out the plan is what we follow.
The other thing I look at with that is if we're regularly not meeting a quorum, then that's an inefficiency of this board, and we're not serving the municipalities that pay a portion of money to us to serve. So, you know, we really got to correct that. I understand times and schedules. You know, there's some members that aren't going to be able to meet that. But if we're putting rules in place that allow us to negate our appointed position, then maybe we shouldn't be on the seat to begin with if we can't, you know, move these items through with a 8-member.
Well, we did call this special meeting because we weren't going to be able to have a quorum for the next meeting, so we called a special meeting. I mean, that can all be part of your plan. You know, if it looks like you're not going to have a quorum, you can go ahead and schedule a special meeting to handle it. You know, so, but like I said, you got to develop a plan first and implement the plan.
with the bylaws, I'm sorry, with the bylaws, it says in the bylaws we have to have a quorum of the entire committee. Correct. So that's where the 5 comes in. Is there any ability to adjust that to the quorum, to the members present? Or?
No, that's set by the municipality's planning code that requires that minimum number to be present at the meeting in order to be able to conduct business.
Is it possible to have an alternate?
There is a provision in the municipality's planning code for the governing body, the commissioners in this case, to appoint alternates who would be seated on a temporary basis.
I also see in the bylaws there's an executive committee of this board, so there's a subgroup. Maybe during building that plan, we could utilize the strength of that executive committee to move things.
Well, you definitely would. You would definitely have it in the executive committee to work out the details and everything. You would generate ideas, and then the executive committee would put it all together and work out all the details.
Thank you.
I think the alternate's a better way to go.
Part of
Are
the
you
challenge
gonna say
is that,
anything about
you
that?
know, it is required that this is a public meeting, so we can't have an executive committee approving or making, recommendations, any official action.
No, you don't
has to
have
happen.
your executive committee
Yeah.
do any approving or anything. What they're doing is they're taking the information and they're putting it together, they're formulating a plan, and then they bring it to the public meeting and present it. And
But
that's what we vote.
But you still have another month to go. I think an alternate, if it's possible, would be maybe a better way to go.
So backing up to the special meeting, in addition to if that is called, there's a advertising cost that is how much? This one was, I believe it was $113. Just to cancel our meeting next week and then put an ad in addition to Mackenzie having to put through and review and get it together those 5 large plans that you saw at the beginning of the meeting because this was backed up a week. She's already in the middle of 2 comp plans that she's working on and trying to intersect where she can on the hazard mitigation plan to get this thing accomplished. So to add that stress to her workload, if that happens.
Well, we're also talking about having some alternates put on. So the alternates may alleviate, those special meetings. But like I said, there has to be a plan first. You
Yeah,
gotta
this is
prepare-
the first we're seeing this as staff.
It's being tabled,
But what we don't understand is why did it come across to the board first before it was even talked about to the staff?
Distributed it on Monday or Tuesday.
Never saw it. If you're not giving that to staff, how are we supposed to even review and ask the questions before we get to a
Another
public
thing,
meeting?
though, is that there has been very few meetings canceled because of people attendance. It's just happened lately with 2 new people, 2 positions open. So it's not like a regular basis we cancel a lot of meetings because of that.
Most everybody here, they believe in this and it wouldn't be on this board. Their sickness happens, it's just emergencies, that's all.
I mean, the purpose of the document, I believe, was to really provide a timely contingency in the absence of a meeting. If we don't have a meeting and nothing happens, we've got businesses and residents that are just gonna get mad because nothing's happened. So, the goal was to have a contingency to allow staff to make those recommendations or approvals in the absence of a meeting. The plan A would be that we have a monthly meeting and that we continue to do the regular work. But what happens if we can't? Does staff have the authority to approve a plan? And potentially, and I realize this doesn't get into all the details, but if it was an issue that the staff felt like, hey, this is, the commission needs to see this, then you would delay it a month. But if it was something that you could make a comment and move along, we would be, I think, benefiting our townships and our municipalities. as opposed to just wasting a month, which is what we did last month, right? I mean, I don't know how many people on this list were anxious to hear back from us, but they didn't because we didn't meet for a month, essentially for 2 months.
Could this be something that's brought up at the Government Advisory Committee next month to review with all of those members first?
I've seen this before
Yeah.
on other boards.
Okay, do I hear a motion to table that action?
You have a motion. Yeah, that's second.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying yea.
Yay.
Yay.
All those against signify by saying nay.
Nay.
1 nay, motion passes. Okay, next one, election law.
It's time to put some officers in place. So I generally take this part. I'm going to open the floor for nominations for president.
I nominate Todd.
A second that.
All those in favor signify by saying yea.
Yay.
Yay.
All those against signify by saying nay. Hearing no nays, motion passes. Congratulations.
It's a good one.
We need a nomination for secretary.
Nominations?
Well, I'd like to get the new people involved down there. They seem to be very aggressive getting involved, so.
I would happily nominate Mr. Green for secretary.
Second.
I'm not sure about that.
All those in favor signify by saying yea.
Yay.
That'd be
All
one.
those against signify by saying nay. No, you're not allowed to say no.
Okay. Just, could you put that in writing to my wife, please? Okay. And treasurer. Nominations for treasurer.
I nominate the other second gentleman.
I knew that was coming.
You did.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying yea.
Okay.
All those against signify by saying nay. Motion passes.
It generally takes effect at the beginning of the, well, at the end of this meeting, beginning of the month, is usually how we usually handle it. So.
Okay, planning commission forum. Anybody have any items to bring up? Hearing none. Questions from the meeting?
I have more than enough to figure out. I'm good.
All right.
Keep in touch.
All right, announcements. March 16th, Government Advisory Committee. March 18th, Southern Alleghenies Monthly CAP Meeting. March 18th, LHOT Center for Community Action Meeting. April 9th, 2026, PennDOT District 9 Municipal Outreach Session. Okay, this meeting is hereby adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for
How
coming.
can we go to adjournment when you're having an executive session?
Well, it's adjourned, but we're gonna go into executive session.
We'll try to make it come
But
back.
then there's no vote.
Oh, okay, never mind the adjournment, we'll come back then.
I have to say.
Do you anticipate action? Is that,
Well, I
you want to leave open the possibility?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what the whole would be.
So I think we've completed our agenda. We did want to let the public and the municipalities know that we are hearing and wanting to respond to concerns about communication and continuity, and any delays that have occurred. And how we're addressing that at this time is that we've asked Mackenzie Karen to act as the acting assistant director or interim assistant director. I think it's our intent to, looking forward, to try to to add a layer of supervision to our planning commission, and we most likely will really consider whether we actually would post that job, interview for that job, but for the time being, she's accepted to be the acting, no, I'm sorry, I keep saying that, interim assistant director to support Dave, to support the staff, and we would request that communications that would normally maybe only go to Dave would also include Mackenzie, so that we have an extra layer of eyes on things, just to make sure that nothing's falling through the cracks. So that's essentially the effect of our executive session, and we do want to thank Mackenzie for accepting that, and the support of Dave and the support of the staff to work together. So. Any further actions for the board at this time?
Do we need that as a motion for the interim position?
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Make that motion. Oh, I'll second.
No, I've heard motion, and the second was Nick. Very good. So we have heard the motion, Nick for the second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Thank you all. Sorry for holding you up today.
Thank you.